There was a man who is so sad because of many of his sufferings, and he was complaining to God kasi parang napakabigat ng krus na pasan-pasan niya. So he went to God and talked to Him and said, Lord, I think it's unfair. You're giving me a very heavy cross. Can I put down this cross and look for another cross? Then God told him, you may do so as you wish. So God led him into a room filled with many crosses. May maliit, may malaki, may mabigat, may magaan, may mahaba, may maikli. And God told him, surrender your cross here, among those crosses, and look for the cross that will match your desire. So the man did what he was told to do. He threw away his cross and then began to circle the room looking for a cross that fits his needs. He saw a cross that is so heavy. Nang binuhat niya, napakabigat, dito pwede. And then he took other crosses who are so light. Masyado naman to, walang challenge. So he went around in circles looking for a fitting cross. And finally, he found one. Sabi niya, tama-tama lang ito. Hindi mabigat, hindi rin magaan. Then he went to the Lord and said, Lord, ito na yung cross mula ngayon na papasanin ko. Then God told him, are you not surprised? Why? Sabi ni God sa kanya. Sabi niya kay God, why? Sabi ni God, that's the same cross that you left in the room before you went out looking for other crosses. So you see, ang mga paghihirap sa buhay natin, brothers and sisters, they are tailor-fit. God desired that we are subjected to a certain pain or suffering which would be very beneficial to us. They will not destroy us, they would not dampen us, but rather they would strengthen us and make the best to come out from all of us. Kaya today, being confronted with so much suffering because of this pandemic, I invite you, brothers and sisters, to reflect upon your difficulties, because they are just the right cross for you. And you may never realize the reasons why God is leading you to these crosses. But one day, for sure, you will realize. Now, why am I telling this? One of the prerequisites of Christian discipleship is patiently carrying our cross. It is basically embracing our crosses. Alam nyo, for saints, they are so ecstatic when they have pains, because they believe whenever you are in pain, you are carrying a cross. And whenever you are carrying the cross, you are also carrying the person who is inseparable in that cross, and that is Jesus Christ. Kaya when we are in pain, that is the moment that we are closest to God. Kaya nung pumunta si Pope Francis dito sa atin, he made it a point to talk about a reading from St. Paul, or I think it's Hebrews, when he said, we have a high priest, who is capable of suffering. Kasi ang Panginoon natin naging tao, and He is so familiar with all our pains, with all our difficulties, with all our inconveniences, dahil naging tao din siya. Kaya when we are in pain, we are one with the Christ who is suffering. We are closest to Christ. Kaya maganda rin itong tingnan na anggulo ng ating mga paghihirap, lalo-lalo na sa ngayon. Kasi alam ko, nahihirapan ang karamihan. I am not here to romanticize suffering. I am not here to romanticize yung resiliency ng Filipino people, but I am telling you a truth in Christianity, that our pains are also gifts. Merong isang surgeon and at the same time preacher, si Dr. Paul Brand. Napakagaling ng doktor na ito. He lived 1914 to 2003. He worked with the lepers. Siya ang nag-pioneer ng pagre-restore ng mga nasisirang kamay, paa, ilong, no, ng mga taong nagkaka-leprosy. Akala ng mga taong nagkaka-leprosy or akala ng karamihan, itong mga lepers, nabubulok ang kanilang mga katawan, kaya napuputol ang paa, napuputol ang kamay. Actually, hindi pala ganon. Hindi kinakain ng leprosy ang laman ng tao. But rather, ang nangyayari pala pag may leprosy, nawawalan tayo ng ability to feel pain. Ano? Pag wala kang ability to feel pain, di kahit naglalakad ka, hindi mo napapansin na sumasayad na yung balat mo, no? Gumagasgas na yung katawan mo, no? Kaya po ang nangyayari, pag wala kang ability to feel pain, hindi mo alam, natatanggal na pala yung mga daliri mo. That is the tragedy of leprosy. No? Kaya in this findings from Dr. Paul Brand, he wrote a book. No? Ang book na ito is Pain, the Gift That Nobody Wants. Pinapakita niya dito na kahit pala papano, no, may purpose ang pain scientifically. Totoo naman, kung walang pain ang hunger, you would never ever take time to eat kasi hindi ka nagugutom. Kaya may mga benefits din pala ito sa buhay natin. But scientifically yan, physical yan. Spiritually, it has a lot. Remember, our God in the first reading is the suffering servant. And Jesus talks about this suffering, that as the Redeemer, as the Messiah, He has to suffer, He has to die. Pinapakita sa atin na may punto ang lahat ng paghihirap. Pinapakita sa atin na may dahilan ang mga paghihirap. Pinapakita sa atin na may patutunguhan ang lahat ng ito. So we'll never know what will happen next with this pandemic. Hindi natin alam kung sino pa ang kukuhanin sa mga kaibigan natin o kung tayo magsusurvive. But it doesn't matter. As long as we become patient in carrying our crosses. Kasi ito po ang labanan. Ito po ang acid test ng mga Kristiyano, if we could bear that cross. Because Saint Paul reminds us that those who are friends of Christ are also friends of the cross. Humanly speaking, we abhor the cross. Humanly speaking, we try to avoid the cross. The way Peter avoids the cross when he told Jesus, no, hindi ka pwedeng mag-suffer. And remember, Jesus called Peter Satan. You are not thinking as God does. Sa mind ni God, crosses are necessary. Pero sa mind natin, they are not. They are stumbling blocks. No? They are an absurdity. No? But for us, they are stepping stones. For us, they are the power and the wisdom of God. And this is a teaching from Saint Paul. Kaya when subjected to sufferings and pain, see, sa mga experiences natin, di ba we grow? Di ba we become more patient? Di ba we become more stronger and resilient? And it does a lot of benefits to all of us, even in the spiritual realm. As John Paul II in his Salvifici Doloris 1984 says, pain when united with the pains of the crucified Christ is salvific. Kaya may epekto yan sa atin. Kabayaran niya ng mga kasalanan natin. Kabanalan natin yan. Kung hindi natin sasayangin and we don't end up complaining. Ang gustong sumunod kay Kristo, kailangang tahakin ang daan ng Kalbaryo. Pasanin ang krus. Sapagkat sa krus na ito, ang ating kapanatagan, ang ating kaligtasan. Amen.